get to a point where you're telling your money what you want it to do versus your money telling you what you need to do. I personally like to just kind of like have a plan for all of my money. Okay, so the key to budgeting with an inconsistent income is oh, I can't let him take my soul. Nah, 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 no. See, we was cool right before I hit your fist, but he... Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Keisha if you're new here, and thank you for clicking on today's video. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, money, but more so budgeting. I really wanted to do a video talking about budgeting as someone who has inconsistent income, because I know there are a lot of different jobs and a lot of you that comment on my videos that do different jobs that have inconsistent income, whether you're like me and you're in the real estate field, like, you know, apartment locating, realtor, maybe you do social media, or you do like my old job when I was a behavior analyst. I was also an independent contractor, so I also had like kind of a regular income. I'm sure there's a ton more jobs I can think of, maybe like photography, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, I really did want to sit down and kind of talk about like how I budget and my budgeting tips as someone who has kind of more irregular income, share with you kind of the things that I do to make sure that I stay on track, pay all the bills, and also like hit all my financial goals. So if you guys are new here, make sure that you subscribe. I love doing videos like this. I did a video about a month ago talking about my financial journey. So if you guys want to check that out, that'll be linked. I am an apartment locator here in Nashville. I work for a company called Aptamigo, and I'm actually the market lead here in Nashville. I've been in like real estate locating field for about 2.5 years now. And then, like I said, before I did this, I was a behavior analyst, and I did that for 2.5 years. So in the last 5, almost like 6 years of my life, I have worked as an independent contractor, which means that I don't have regular income. I have to worry about my own taxes and all that fun stuff. So that's kind of like a little background if you're new here. Also, if you do like this video, I'd appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. Let me know if you guys like these type of videos, and I will definitely do more. This is kind of more so like if you have inconsistent income, but you're at a place that you kind of like have steady-ish income, like you're already kind of like established. Like I know like for apartment locating, like once you first get started, you have very irregular income because you're not really getting paid for a while. And then after, you know, like the 2 to 3 month mark, you start getting more consistent pay. It's consistent, but it's not like, you know, you don't know what you're gonna make every week. Like one paycheck could be $2,000 and the next paycheck could be like $10,000. I've had a week where I had literally like 1,000 on one check, and then my last check that I just got was like 13,000. So it really is just like all over the place. So when you're in any position like that, you just have to really think about budgeting. But yeah, this is more so like if you're already kind of in a place where you do have money coming in, but you just don't know where it's coming from, not really get aimed towards if you're starting something out and you like don't have anything in the pipeline. So this is more so if you have money in the pipeline already. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so the key to budgeting with an inconsistent income is first to create a bare bones budget. List out all of the essentials, highlight keyword here, essentials, that absolutely need to be covered every single month. That's gonna be your rent or mortgage, electric, internet, water, gas, groceries, insurances, stuff like that. Like those are like your bare bones budget, like what has to be paid basically in order for you to survive. That doesn't include your coffees or going out to eat. It's literally just like, what do I need to pay in order to just survive? So calculate the minimum of what you need for just your essentials. So let's just kind of roll off an example here. Let's just say $4,000 a month is your bare bones, bare minimum, what I need to survive budget. So the next step is you're gonna average your monthly income. So what is the average? Look over the last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, a year, or whatever you did last year. Kind of look at what your average is and take that number. So let's say you're looking at your taxes from last year, and all in, you finished off at about 80,000. Is that a fair number? Yeah, let's say we're at 80,000. So we're gonna take that 80,000, obviously we're gonna divvy it up by 12, the overall year. So we would be coming out about 6,667 if we just round up at the end of there. That's like your average. Again, some months are gonna be higher, some months are gonna be lower. We'll kind of get into how to kind of prepare for if you do have lower months. Like I know for me, like summer are like my booming months. Winter, things kind of slow down a little bit, so I still get paid, but it's not like as heavy as it is in the summer. So I kind of have to like kind of be more mindful of that. And that's something for you too. If you kind of have a job that has like maybe a little bit of seasonality to it, you know, there's sometimes of the year that you're busier and you're gonna make more, and then sometimes of the year where you're not gonna make as much. You really have to consider that as well when you're doing your budget. For me, if I have a higher month, so let's say 6,667 is my average, and I'm just like, okay, this is what I'm making each month. We're gonna base my whole budget off of this number. Anytime that I have a month that is higher than that, let's say this month I make $8,000, I'm taking whatever that surplus is and I am putting that aside into an emergency fund slash, like if I have a small check fund. I have two separate, so I have like an account for an emergency fund, and then I have an account for like, okay, like basically to balance out like a lower check fund. So I definitely would recommend that, because it definitely gets tempting to, and I definitely had that too. Like last summer when I was getting those really big checks, I was so excited, because if you guys have been around, I've been kind of lately touching on how I'm like on this debt-free journey. So I would throw like lots of money at my debt, but then when I started having a little bit of smaller checks coming in the winter, I didn't like account for that. That's when I kind of learned that like, okay, you need to take that surplus and just put it aside and just kind of work off of the bare bones budget. Again, this is all just based on like how I personally do things. You can do anything however you want. This is just like how I personally do things. If I have anything that is over, let's say, again, working with 6,667, let's say I get a check and it's like 7,700, that I'm taking that extra and I'm just putting that in a surplus fund. But if I'm getting a check that's like 10,000, I personally just take like anywhere from like 1,000 to 1,500, put that aside in like my surplus fund, and then I'll take that other remaining amount and I will put that towards a goal. Like right now we have goals. We're like saving for the wedding, saving for a big Europe trip, and debt. So I will kind of like divvy that extra up. So basically if I get like a little bit of a surplus within 1,000 to 1,500, I'll put that in like a surplus account. If I get anything that's like over 1,500, whatever that difference is from that 1,500 to whatever the next number is, I'm taking that and I'm putting it towards some of my other goals that I have. I hope that makes sense. So let's say, but we get our check, we get our average, it's 6,667. So we already know that we need 4,000 to survive. So we have 2,667 left over. So of course, if you're an independent contractor, you do have to account for taxes. So let's say 6,667, let's say we're putting like 25% aside. So that's 1,666 that goes aside. So that leaves us with 1,000 left over. And don't forget to put money aside for taxes, y'all. Taxes, I personally, again, I am no financial expert, talk to a professional, but I personally just put my tax money into a high yield savings account, keep it in there. Right now it's still at like 4.5%, and just leave it in there for the year, let it accumulate some interest. So take those out. So let's say we have 1,000 left over. So now you have to kind of figure out, for you personally, what do you want to do with that extra 1,000? Do you want to give yourself some money to just have as like free spending? Like I always divide it out where I have some free spending money. Like I'll give myself 150 every other week to go out, and if I want to buy clothes or makeup, skincare, go out to eat, get coffee, anything like that, that's the fund that I pull from. You want to put money away for savings. So what are you going to put away to savings? Is it going to be like 200, 500? Do you want to put money into retirement or investment accounts? I like to pull some money and put it into my Roth IRA. So is that something, are you investing, or do you just have any, you know, miscellaneous things that might be coming up? Maybe a friend's having a birthday party and you need to buy a gift this month, or I don't know, you know that you have a doctor's appointment and you have to pay the copay, so let me pull that aside. So just things like that. So just kind of think of the things that you would kind of divvy yours up. So for me personally, kind of what I do is like I have like free spending money, miscellaneous, savings, and I kind of have like different goals. So like right now I have like X amount is going towards paying off the car, X amount is going towards saving for the wedding, and X amount is going towards saving for Europe. So I kind of divvy it up like that. But again, it just kind of depends on what your goals are. So just kind of think of like how you want to play with the numbers, see like if you have like a big goal, kind of break it down and see like kind of how much of that 1,000 you would need to put aside in order to hit your goal and whatever timeline you need. So yeah, so break up that 1,000. Let's say we're doing like 200 for personal spending, 500 for savings, 300 to debt. I don't know, I just made that up. So that's just kind of what you're sticking to. So if you have a month that you're hitting just the average, you at least know all your basics are covered and you know exactly where that money's going. If you have a month that's a little lower, then you have that surplus account to pull from. So you can pull from that surplus account and then just pull enough to get to that 6,667 number. Don't pull out too much because you wanna go on a huge shopping spree or anything like that. pull out just enough to hit the average. So that's what the surplus really is for, just to hit this kind of like average number personally. I mean, again, if you want to do, you can do whatever, but that's my recommendations just from like how I do mine, personal experience and everything like that. And then when it comes to having that extra, let's say our 6,667 is our average, but we got an extra 3,000. So we got 9,667. So we're gonna put 1,000 to the surplus account, and then we have 2,000 left over. So now what I personally do for that 2,000 is I have percentages that I put aside. So every time I have a surplus, I know exactly where that's going. Let's say 30% is going to savings, 30% is going to debt, 20% is going toward saving for a house, and the last 20% is just going to me for free spending. Again, those are, I just made those up, but that's kind of how I do mine. So like whenever I have a surplus, I have these percentages. I personally like to just kind of like have a plan for all of my money. I don't like to just kind of like get extra money and then be like, huh, what do I want to do with this? So now I know. I'm like, okay, here's 2,000, 30% goes here, 30% goes here, 20% goes here, 10% goes there, 10% goes there. Again, you do with that whatever you want. You create your own percentages, play around with it, see what feels right. And yeah, but that's kind of what I personally do. And I think that it has worked out really well for me. Again, when you have inconsistent income, it is really, really important to prioritize your expenses. Make sure you have a good distinction between like a bare bones budget and then just like extras that I like to sprinkle on top of my budget that I could cut if I did have a lower month. As someone who has struggled with finances for many, many years, I find that it is just so important to be able to take control of your finances, get to a point where you're telling your money what you want it to do versus your money telling you what you need to do. I think that's the biggest thing. Like writing it down, having a plan, and like having a consistent plan every time you get paid. It's just so freeing because you just know exactly where your money is going. Everything has a plan, every dollar has a plan. You know that you're working towards hitting your goals. You know that you'll always have enough to pay at least the minimum expenses. And yeah, it just is like the best feeling ever to just know exactly where your paycheck's going every time it comes. Like I love budgeting. I love payday because I love sitting there and like putting this money here and this in this account and this in this account. I'm like, oh, extra. Okay, little percent here, little extra for me. Now I can go get a facial. Like I just love it. I love being able to like plan everything. It makes things way less stressful. I feel like I'm able to hit my goals faster because I'm not just like getting paid and just kind of like paying things as they come. Like when I get paid on payday, I go in, I immediately pay bills. So like even if I get a bigger check, I will sometimes just go ahead and pay bills early. Like I'm like, it's January, but like if March's internet needs to be paid, I'm gonna just pay that now. Like I'll go in and kind of pay early. I'll pay all of the bills first and then I'll kind of go in and divvy it. Even in my checking, I have different like savings in my checking account. So I have my checking account in my primary bank. I've been at the same bank since I was like 17. So in there, and then I have like little accounts separate. So I have this checking that I always try to leave some money in just for like if anything pops up, if anything comes out that's unexpected, anything like that. So I have checking, and then I have little other like saving accounts. You should be able to do it at your bank, I would assume. So I have one that's like gas groceries. So like when I get paid, I'll pull out like 300, put it in the gas grocery account. And then free spending, pull it out, put it in that account. I have miscellaneous, pull it out, put it in that account. Sometimes if I like pay bills, but they don't come out immediately, like there are some bills, you know, some things will come out immediately, but things that you usually have to pay through like your bank like account, they don't come out same day. So I have a category just for bills that I'll put that aside, and then just make sure you transfer it into your checking before the bank tries to pull the money out. But I'll put that in that account. And then I have a completely different account that just has my high yield savings, where like I said, I have the like Europe fund, wedding, taxes, like that stuff is all in a high yield. Just keep organized. I feel like if everything is just sitting in a checking account, it just gets so confusing. You're like, how much did I spend on groceries already? Like what went here? Like how much do I have left for this? So I like to just divvy it all up. So every time I go on my account, I could be like, okay, I have this much left for my free spending. I have this much left for groceries. It just makes things so much easier. So I definitely recommend that too. I'm able to just go in and like add a new savings account, and you really can add as many as you want. I think that's everything. So that's kind of just like how I budget. This is like the best way that I have found to manage my finances and manage my money the best. So hopefully this is helpful. Again, take everything, like I'm not a financial expert. I'm just a 27-year-old gal over here making it work. So if you want to take some things from this video and add your own flair or do your own things, that's totally fine. Let me know if you have any budgeting tips down below as well. I'm always like trying to play around with things and add new little strategies into my budget. But yeah, I think that's it for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, and I'll see you guys again in another video. Okay, bye guys.
Oh, I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. I can't let them take my soul.